Good morning, Kevin.
Morning, Bede. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you going?
What are we going to talk about today?
We're going to talk about the one theme, the theme around which Vedanta is built around.
Mm-hmm.
And this theme is essentially, what does it mean to be me?
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean?
Sounds interesting.
And the thing is that before we come to Vedanta, we've already answered this question for ourselves extremely emphatically.
Mm.
And that's what I want to go into today.
Sounds like a problem.
Now, when we look at it, one of the first things that we know is that we experience ourselves as a somebody living in the world of things.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and when we say we're a somebody, first of all, that we can think about.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we do a lot of thinking about the somebody that we take ourselves to be. Okay, so we think about ourselves. So for ourselves, we're an object to ourselves.
Mm.
Okay, I'm a man. I'm from New Zealand. I'm struggling to live in this world. So I'm experiencing myself as a somebody that I can think about as an object.
Mm-hmm. But other people either doing nice things too, or doing not nice things too.
They're either making me a somebody that I like, or they're making me a somebody that I don't like.
Mm.
You see, so when I think about myself, you see, if you look at what self-dissatisfaction is, I am unhappy with myself. I'm unhappy with this somebody that I'm experiencing myself to be, and that I am convinced that I am.
Mm. You have no doubt about that experience.
Absolutely not. No, you see, and constantly my entire psychological life is this: I'm either experiencing myself as a somebody that I am very, very pleased about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm a magnificent person, I'm approved of, I'm a success, I'm outstanding, I'm incredibly good looking. Okay, that was a bit of an exaggeration. But the thing is that I'm thinking about myself as an object continually. I'm monitoring how I'm going.
Mm.
Yep, I'm bored at the moment. I'm bored at the moment. I'm having an experience of myself as being bored.
Mm.
I'm having an experience of myself and the boredom as one and the same. I even say I am bored.
Mm.
So my I sense at any one time is an experience of myself that I take to be my life. I take this to be my life.
And all of your thinking will conform to that, won't it?
Can't help it, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is that given the somebody that I'm experiencing myself to be, there's a whole package of thinking, feeling, physiological reactions and sensations and urge to behave that goes with that.
Mm.
Okay?
Yeah.
So here I am, I'm this somebody. So first of all, so as a person, as a somebody, I'm conceivable, aren't I?
Yeah.
So I'm thinkable.
Mm-hmm.
I can think of myself as an object.
Mm-hmm.
And I do continually.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, secondly, what I can do is I'm perceptible. I can look at myself in the mirror. I can see my hands. I'm an object that is perceivable by the senses.
Mm.
And so, and also I'm very much aware that other people are looking at me, when, particularly in the social space.
Mm.
I'm an object of other people's sensory perception. I'm here.
Mm. Yeah.
Okay. In fact, when we talk about our sense of identity as a child, here I am. I'm this little somebody that's born into this family.
Mm.
And what happens is people interact with this somebody that I take myself to be, and I form very basic opinions about what I am and what I'm like and what the world's like and what other people are in relation to me.
Mm.
So I get an extremely strong self-conception about what I am.
Mm. Mm.
But I can see myself. I'm a sensory object.
Yeah.
And that's how I experience myself to be. We're clear so far?
Yeah. Yeah.
And lastly, and not least, we're describable. We can describe ourselves.
Mm.
We do, and we hope to believe in certain very nice descriptions, self-descriptions, like, I'm a nice person, I'm kind, I'm generous, I'm intelligent, I'm bright, I'm honest.
Mm.
Oh, no, I'm not dishonest. No, how could you give me that self-description? I'm not like that. And I get very upset if you give me a description about myself that I know isn't true, because I know the other descriptions I have of myself, they are the true ones.
Mm. Mm.
So our whole life, our whole way of being in the world is being this somebody in a world of things.
Mm.
And yep.
And you're saying that this experience we have ourselves as being someone which we can think about, that we can perceive, that's describable. There's this, although that's a very common experience, it's in the light of Vedanta.
No, well, I don't want to go into that right yet.
Yeah.
I want to stick with our experience.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to be very clear on our experience first.
Mm.
So this is what we take ourselves to be, our identity.
Mm.
You see, but it gets worse than this. Well, not worse, but fundamentally, I am in continual battle with objects.
What do you mean?
Because in order for me to be a happy somebody, I have to have certain, I'm wanting to pull certain things towards me.
Mm. Mm.
I want admiration. I really want admiration. There's nothing quite as delicious as admiration or approval.
From other people, and you want other objects, like you want a red car or big house or whatever.
Something to make me a good look, a somebody who is a good look, a somebody who is a good look.
So
And I don't want other things.
So essentially, as part of this thinking about myself as somebody, you also have an idea about yourself, how other people are seeing you as a good look, and living your life according to how you imagine. So you have an image of yourself, which I could say is La La Land, and you have an image of how other people see this self. You take this body, you take yourself to be, and you make all your decisions according to that.
Well, yeah. What you do is you live this somebody that you take yourself to be out continually.
Mm.
And you see, somebody always exists within a context.
Mm.
You can't have a village idiot without a village, can you?
No.
You can't have a body without other bodies. So you have this dualism. I'm a somebody living in a world different from me.
Mm.
And I'm constantly, as a somebody, in friction. Our whole psychological life is being in friction.
The friction comes about because there's an idea that my happiness is in people.
No, I don't want to go into that either. I want you can we just stick to the description?
Yeah.
You do something I don't like.
Yeah.
I find myself in friction.
Mm.
I don't like what you are doing.
Yeah.
So I'm having an experience of being assaulted by the experience.
Mm.
So I'm the piggy in the middle, and the world is assaulting me.
Yeah.
It's either giving me what I want, so I feel like I'm a happy somebody.
Successful somebody.
Yeah, successful, happy, loved, famous, doesn't matter. Good looking.
Yeah.
And I feel happy. I feel inflated as a somebody. This is the somebody that I like being. And I want to keep it that way.
Yes.
In fact, my continual struggle is to keep myself as a somebody in a happy and secure state.
That's understandable.
It is. It's a losing battle, but I try very hard. So what happens is we are experiencing ourselves as a somebody interacting with the world that's other than us. And we're continually having friction between ourselves and ourselves. So when I'm bored, do I like it?
No.
I hate the experience of myself, so I'm driven to watch TV or go after exciting experiences.
Driven to distraction, to find things to distract you, so you're not aware. You lose awareness that you're bored.
Yeah, that I want to actually move away from the experience of myself as a bored person.
As being a bored person.
As being a bored person, yeah.
Yeah.
Or I might say, I'm so anxious. You know, when people come to the, for counseling or whatever, they say, I'm just so anxious. I just get so uptight. They're describing themselves as an uptight person. Do you see what I mean? And they're experiencing themselves as that.
So they're being an uptight person.
They are being a somebody who is uptight.
Which is very different from having an anxious thought.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, but can we just? So, what happens is that, let's say, for example, I'm a somebody who's angry. I'm a somebody who's got anger problems in them.
Yeah.
So, I'm experiencing myself in a way that I don't like because I want to be, nice and loving, and yet I want to wring people's neck.
Or getting what you want anyway. An angry person might think I want to be nice and loving. I just want to get what I want. And people are annoying me because they're interfering with me getting that.
Yes, but at the same time, I need their approval in order to feel good about myself. So I have to work it out. So if I get angry and act badly, act wrongly, I have to justify it so I can still feel good in myself as a somebody. I didn't want to get angry. It was their fault.
Yes.
So I have this continual conflict with myself. I'm in friction with myself because I want to be something different. Fundamentally, when I'm an unhappy somebody, I want to be somebody different. And when I'm a happy somebody, I feel successful in being a different kind of person than from what I was. So I want to keep that. Because that feeling of being a somebody who's wonderful or happy, I highly value. It's extremely important to me because when I'm being a somebody that I can like and this beautiful sensation of ego sensation, I feel happy because I'm protected from that feeling unhappy as a somebody, and I cease to be an unhappy somebody. Okay, so we have this fundamental friction with ourselves, don't we?
Yes.
I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good looking enough. I'm not young enough. Tremendous amount of upset with myself about myself. And then it goes further. Then I have upsets with people. I'm constantly in friction with people, as we've been talking about.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I find myself attacking them, resisting them, being critical of them. Fundamentally, it's very easy for me to experience enmity.
Mm.
Because basically the rule is, if people do what I don't like, I hate them.
It's not shown as that. It's just shown as you'll criticize them or something. You'll have thoughts or actions which are a bit more socially acceptable rather than just blurting out, "I hate you," like a 6-year-old.
No, only a child will say that honestly. Adults make it, they express their hate in more socially acceptable forms. They have to hide it.
Mm.
But the whole point is that when you have dependence on other people for your sense of being happy and secure, you must hate them whenever they frustrate that effort, consciously or unconsciously.
Mm.
So that you're vulnerable to, as soon as you have this, first of all, in order for me to be happy in myself, I have to be in a certain condition.
Mm.
That means automatically every time I'm not in that condition, I'm going to get upset. I'm going to be upset with myself.
Mm.
When I'm with other people, automatically when they are not being the way that I want in relation to me, I am upset with them.
Mm. Mm.
And what about the world? The economic conditions, the history, what's happening.
Could be raining today.
Yeah, it could be raining today. I might be in conditions that I don't want to be. I want to be more wealthy, whatever it is.
Mm.
So what we have is, we have this experience of this village idiot living in this village.
Mm.
And the village is the thoughts and the feelings I have, what I'm looking at, other people in the world.
That you think is affecting you in either favourable or unfavourable ways.
Yeah, I'm absolutely convinced that the problem is the village. The problem is the experience I'm having.
Mm. Mm.
And that is coming from my mind, anger, depression, anxiety, inferiority, boredom, or it's coming from other people. Do you know what I mean? So my experience is coming from other people, or the conditions that I'm in. Now, and fundamentally, I've always been like this. My whole life as being somebody who is trying to find happiness and security in the world. And in that endeavor, I'm experiencing myself as somebody who's inflated, who feels happy about himself, feels good about himself.
Excited about themselves.
Or feeling sad or bad about themselves. And it's constant. This is my experience of myself. I'm thinkable. I can think of myself as an object. I'm perceptible, and I know that I'm perceptible by other people because they're always giving me recognition, which I crave, by the way. And I'm describable. Now, I want to move to the snake and the rope. There's a very important thing about the snake and the rope analogy. Here I am, it's a reasonably dark twilight, nearly dark, and I mistake a rope for a snake. I think I'm looking at a snake. Now, there's a very interesting thing here. I'm now having my experience of myself as an afraid person. And I'm also having an experience of a snake, which I'm afraid of. Okay? And I think the problem is with the snake. I'm convinced that the object that I'm looking at is the problem. So I'm involved in a way of seeing which gives me an experience of myself as a somebody,
yeah,
facing a something which I'm scared, I'm completely frightened about.
yeah,
And so what I do is I try and struggle and fight with the snake. I try and meditate. Just a minute, I'm just going to meditate and calm down so I'm not afraid of the snake. Well, that doesn't work. Do you know what I mean? I try everything I try and fight the snake. I try and beat the snake. I try to avoid the snake. But the problem is that my way of seeing is not true. But the interesting thing is that my way of seeing is creating a dualistic world, isn't it?
yes.
Me as a somebody
Struggling
with a something that I don't like.
Yeah.
And it's actually completely it's not a reality, it's an experience. It's not reality, it's an experience. Now, no matter what I do or think to try and get out of this, it can't work.
Because that's how you're seeing the world at that time.
It's a fiction.
You mentioned about meditating, that won't work, but it may bring about mental quietude for a time. But as soon as you stop, you'll be back where you were before.
I'll look over in the corner and I'll see this damn snake, and I'll become an afraid person. So, well, this is what Swami Dayananda calls subjectivity.
Yeah.
Because it's all based on how I am seeing. And how I am seeing not only brings about a way of being, my experience of myself as a somebody, it also brings about the world that I'm looking at. In this case, a snake. Are we clear so far?
Yeah.
And what Swami Dayananda would say is that the problem is not centered on the snake. The problem is centered on me. That the problem is located with me. Because I see it, it is there.
Doesn't mean anyone else sees it. It's because you see
No.
it. That's the point.
But to me, I'm living in a world, a snake world.
Yeah.
And I'm experiencing myself in a certain type of way, as a certain kind of somebody. It's like I'm a man who's hypnotized into believing that they're in a prison. No matter what I do to try and climb over the walls or dig tunnels or everything that I'm trying to get out of this prison. And I'm desperately trying to get out of the prison so I can be a somebody who's happy, right? The problem is that because I think that I'm a prisoner, that creates a prison. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The moment I wake up from the idea that I'm a prisoner, what happens to the prison?
It disappears.
It disappears. Now that's interesting, isn't it? But all our endeavors to try and deal with ourself is to try and deal and handle the prison or the snake.
Yeah.
Are we getting clear so far?
Yeah.
And one of the problems is that, and it's very clear with psychodynamic studies, is that this entity I take myself to be is full of and is built-in reactions. Okay, so if I say to you, what's your name? What happens, Kevin?
Kevin.
Yeah, the word Kevin just pops up. The same way when I look at the world, I look at an object, I've got all these various ways of looking at things that I've looked at for years. And it's suddenly like Kevin, or that's good, that's bad, I like that, don't like that. It's just continual continual reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not seeing. You see, the teaching of Vedanta says that fundamentally we're not being ourselves.
Mm.
And because we're not being ourselves, we're not seeing the world in the right way.
Mm.
Because when I'm being a person who's afraid of a snake, am I looking at the world in the right way?
No.
I'm in fact not seeing the world as it is, am I?
Mm. When you're perceiving that the world can give and take happiness from you,
Mm-hmm.
that's a certain way of seeing.
And it's true that when you, if you are a somebody who, it's actually true, the world is giving you happiness and it's taking it away. It's actually true. What's not true is that you're a somebody. That which I'm going to go into, but do you see what I mean? The fundamental problem is one of identity. Who am I? When I say me, what am I talking about? I'm fairly convinced about what I am. I've got a whole psychological background. I have a whole lot of experiences that tell me what I am. I've got people around me talking to me in certain ways, and they're also letting me know what I am.
You said that the world gives me happiness, or I have an experience of the world giving me happiness, but that's not really true, is it, that experience?
Well, I take happiness to be an ego inflation. And when things go my way, I feel inflated. So given that I understand happiness to be this feeling good about myself, being a somebody that I love and like, that's true. In terms of experience, it's true. But it's what seems to be. It's not what really is.
No, because in that moment of it fitting in with what you want, you're pleased with yourself because you're not a wanting person.
Yes, but yeah, that's true. But the thing is that you're free of you've just been freed for a brief moment of the relentless search of trying to be happy.
Yeah.
See, the fundamental dynamic, psychological dynamic of the human being is an effort to be happy and secure.
Happy
and secure.
Yes.
That's our fundamental effort. And that fundamental effort produces two psychological results which constitute our entire psychological life. Ego inflation to mild to intense forms, and ego deflation. And we take this to be what our life is.
And we also take that to be happiness.
When we're full, yeah. We take it that when I am a somebody that is feeling full and happy and secure, in other words, I'm being a somebody that I like and approve of, there's always that dualistic structure.
Yeah.
I feel happy. Now we get to Vedanta. They would say, and particularly Swami Dayananda would say, that here's this somebody, a fighter in the world. And when I disappear as a fighter, the whole world I'm fighting with also disappears along with it. So what we're looking at is that the real problem is this question of who and what am I? Because you see, if I'm a village idiot, there's automatically that goes along with that as a village, isn't it?
Yeah.
If I'm a prisoner, I have a prison. Is it that? So there's this experience of this dualistic thing, isn't there? Me, in a particular kind of world, but this world is projected out from me. When I'm looking at the snake, it's a world projected out from me because of my mistaken notion. Okay? And we know that the very fact that the moment I see the rope, I disappear as a afraid, suffering person, a snake sufferer. And also the world that I'm facing also disappears.
The fearful world, a world to be fearful of, disappears.
Yes, the actual experience of the world disappears. The experience that I'm having of the world, which I take to be the world, that disappears.
Yes.
When I wake up to what actually is.
When we see the world as just a rope.
When I see that what I'm looking at is simply a rope.
Yeah.
So the recognition of the rope, that frees, that resolves the snake.
So you never had to fight the snake anymore.
I don't have to keep it up either. I don't have to keep trying.
No.
There's a complete collapsing of not only what I am like, but what the world is like to me.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now this gets very interesting. You know how Swami Dayananda says that psychology hasn't got the solution, but Vedanta hasn't got the problem.
Yeah.
Now, it's funny when he says that, but he's actually deadly serious. You see, if I'm having a dream that I'm seeing a snake, and I'm being an afraid person facing a snake,
yeah,
that is an experience, not a reality, isn't it? But I'm experiencing myself. I'm taking myself to be an afraid person.
Yeah.
I'm somebody who's afraid. But the moment I wake up to the reality of the situation, I disappear as that suffering person, don't I?
And the snake disappears as well.
Yes, because the suffering person is not substantial. It's simply an experience, which is very lucky. So psychology hasn't got the solution. It's very true that it's our experience of ourselves as a somebody that we can think about, that we can perceive with the senses, and that we can describe is an experience. That's true.
Yeah.
But the great thing about an experience is experiences can disappear, can't they?
Yeah.
If it was true, could it disappear?
No.
Lucky. Okay, very lucky.
Yeah.
So Swami Dayananda says that psychology hasn't got the solution, but Vedanta doesn't have the problem. We are not interested in trying to fix up the dream. We're not interested in trying to free the prisoner so the prisoner will be happy.
We're not interested in feeling good about ourselves.
No, because the self we're feeling good about is a fiction. So this is a completely radically different approach.
Yeah.
What we're going to do is we're going to come to an entirely different recognition and appreciation of ourselves that is entirely different than what we have always experienced ourselves to be.
And how our culture, society talks about, how it sees things as being what a happy person is, an excited person is,
a successful person is. Yeah. Just noise. You know how I tell you I like that. You know how I tell you. You know how I told you I like just a minute. You know how I tell you that that my favorite Shakespeare play is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and thunder that signifies nothing. Sound and fury, one or the other.
Sound and fury.
Sound and fury. That signifies nothing.
Mm.
The thing is that the reason that that's true is that when you're living out a fiction, when your whole life is a mindless dramatization of something that's not true, you can't fix that.
No.
You know, that's not the resolution.
No, and it's a constant struggle, because you take happiness to be ego inflation, feeling good about myself.
Yes.
And because that's dependent on the world, other people, and situations you don't have control over, there will necessarily feel times when the world isn't, those things aren't working in accordance in favourable way, and so you'll feel deflated.
Yes.
And struggle.
But the very interesting thing is that the ego inflation makes sure that preserves a sense of being somebody, but the ego deflation does as well. So that we're constantly being preserved as a somebody.
Well, any effort of struggling, fighting with, trying to arrange how people should behave and be in your perception, how the world should be in your perception, that struggle keeps you, the fighter, the struggler, in place, the way you see your somebody to be. It keeps that in place.
Yes, you're engaged in self-preservation, and the ego wins both ways.
In inflation or deflation.
Kick is as good as a boost.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in comes and you can see that it's very important to see that being a somebody is a burden, a tremendous burden. Because the only reason I'm feeling good about myself is because I'm defended against feeling bad about myself. It's an endless samsara, you know, it's just endless. Okay, now, so, and we can see that if I'm somebody who's got religious beliefs, is this going to free me from this condition of being a somebody?
No. It may make you have good thoughts about yourself, and but it doesn't resolve the problem.
What about if I've got a belief that I'm a spiritual being, if I've got the thought that I am consciousness, is that going to free me from being a somebody?
No, because it's just a thought, and it may allow you to feel good about yourself, that you're special or you're spiritual, but it doesn't resolve the problem.
Exactly, it's a description, isn't it?
Body.
It's a description, isn't it?
Yes.
What about if I do meditative exercises of quieting my mind? Is this going to free me from the experience of myself as being a somebody?
Well, there'll be some freedom just in the practice, potentially, where you find yourself in a quietude, but it's like as soon as you
That's just being a quiet somebody.
Yeah. But the appearance that you've resolved it, but in actual fact, once you come out of that practice, you'll be back to where you were before.
Okay, so what we have is being a somebody, and out of this somebody is a world that isn't true.
Yeah.
An experience of the world. There is no seeing what is. There is no what Swami Dayananda calls being alive to facts. And he says that when someone asked him, what is the meaning of life? He said, obviously the meaning of life is to live, but he said a remarkable thing. He says, but the big question is, what does it mean to live? And he says, you are only living when you are alive to facts. Now, when I'm seeing a snake, am I alive to facts?
No.
When I'm thinking that my wife is a neurotic woman, Is that a projected notion, or am I alive to facts, or am I actually just simply having an experience of my wife as a notion I have in my head?
The latter.
That's right. I'm not alive to facts. So when I look at the world, I look at myself and I'm whatever, there is no aliveness to facts, but I think I'm being alive to facts though, don't I?
Yes.
I think I'm seeing a snake. I think I'm seeing an erotic woman. I think I'm seeing a person who's absolutely magnificent at the moment and approved of. Or I think I'm seeing a person who is no good and pathetic.
So this is what Swami Dayananda refers to as subjectivity.
Yes, he considers it.
It's there, but no one else sees that.
Not only, well, they are also enclosed in subjectivity. No one sees any of this. You can see it very clearly in others. Well, how can they think that? But because you're kind of outside it. But even then you're judgmental of them, so you're not seeing them either. It's just this wonderful human life is subjectivity in operation. It is a mindless dramatization of subjectivity, according to Swami Dayananda. He says, if you're not alive to facts, alive to what is, he says, you're living a life of a somnambulist. I'm finally getting to know how to say that word. A somnambulist. You're a sleepwalker.
Oh, wow.
Now, this is an incredibly important thing to understand. Now, but if you're, now here's the problem. You're not really going to be able to see the fact that you're a sleepwalker unless you kind of wake up, because then you won't have otherwise you won't have the comparison.
No. Until you know what it means to be objective, to see what is, you won't know what objectivity means. You won't know what subjectivity means.
No, and in this case, we're talking that being objective is being alive to what is. But the important part here, he says a very interesting thing. We're awake to the moment by being ourselves. So now this is the interesting point. We don't become awake to the moment by practicing, somebody practicing mindfulness. I'm now going to be mindful of this and mindful of this and mindful of that. What he says is we are awake to the moment by being ourselves. Now in Vedanta, this recognition and appreciation of being what we really are, being what we really are is the whole game of Vedanta, the whole purpose of Vedanta.
But how someone without a bit of the teaching, without understanding what it means by being yourself, that won't be understood.
Yeah, that's right. You can practice as much as you like spiritual practices. That is not going to bring about a recognition of what does it mean to be myself. Now, so we're clear so far?
Yeah.
We're caught we're enclosed in a condition of subjectivity, which is an experience of ourself and a world projected from that experience.
Yeah.
And what we want to do is we want to wake up from that subjectivity. But then the question, how? And some people think, that if they engage in meditation, do you know what I mean? That's what's going to happen. They'll be able to wake up, or all of this stuff. Now, the teaching of Vedanta, and we're going to just start like what the important thing here is this. And it's what our teacher Swami Atmaprakashananda said to me the other night when I asked her for clarification on this fact. First of all, what we are is non-conceivable.
I can't think about it.
I can't think about it. It's unthinkable. It is. We can only think about objects. So everything that I think about myself is untrue. If I think I am consciousness, That's not true. That is, I've got a notion about what consciousness is, and I think that's me. So what Swami Atmaprakashananda said to me when I first met her is that any notion I have about myself, notion, is delusional. It's not true. So what I am, first of all, is non-conceivable.
Yeah.
First of all. Because what we're looking at here, which the teaching often uses, it uses juxtaposition between what we're so used to and then we juxtapose it to what really is. The second thing is, it's non-perceptible. You can't, what we actually are, this question of what does it mean to be me? That my be, that the being that I am, is non-thinkable, right? First of all.
Yeah.
And it's non-perceptible.
So it's not available to the senses.
Not even a little bit.
Or impact senses, yeah.
Okay. And lastly, it's non-describable. I can't give it descriptions. Now, this is extremely important in this sense. What the teaching is saying is that we can come to a recognition and appreciate, and then once, see what Dayananda says is that you can only see what you know. So there has to be a recognition first, then you can appreciate what you've recognized. Okay, so we need to come to a recognition and appreciation of ourselves as the result being, when we're appreciating ourselves as this, we disappear as a somebody. And because we disappear as a somebody, we find ourselves being free. Because if we cease to be a somebody, can the world hurt us? Obviously not, because the world of things can only bang into other things, can't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So if I'm nobody, if I'm not an object, can I be hurt by other objects?
No.
I'm just not here to be hurt. I'm no longer a victim of other actions, am I? So what we're looking at, and we'll go more into this next time, but fundamentally what happens is that what we're looking at is that we're looking at a recognition and appreciation of ourselves, which is non-conceivable, non-perceptible, and non-describable. Now, it would be a very bad mistake to think that this is some mystical, weird state. You see, and
that's far away from you.
That's far away from you. Now, we're going to go more into this next time, but remember how we talked about when we find ourselves resting in the lap of Ishvara? What happens is that in that relaxed, when we're just simply aware of the presence of Ishvara in the form of whatever he is in, we don't find ourselves, there is no ego inflation. We're not a somebody who's happy. And we're not a somebody who is sad. We are just simply being ourself. But we're being an awareful presence in contact with what is. Now, when we are being an awareful presence, a conscious being related to the whole, this gives us the interesting thing is, first of all, as a conscious person related to the whole, is that, first of all, thinkable? Is it an object I can think about?
No, because me as somebody disappears in that.
Yeah, I can only be conscious.
I experience myself as conscious person.
Yeah. Well, no. You're not experiencing yourself as a conscious person. You're being conscious.
Yes.
Because if I'm experiencing myself as a conscious person, it's self-objectification. So here I am. I'm relaxed in myself, and I'm being conscious. I'm not having an experience of myself.
Yeah.
I'm being conscious.
When you say you're not having experience of yourself, how do you mean that it's not an experience?
There's not me looking at myself being conscious.
No.
That dualism is gone.
Yeah.
Self-dissatisfaction or self-satisfaction are dualistic. So I'm not feeling good about myself. I'm not feeling bad about myself. I'm being conscious. This is unthinkable. We can appreciate ourselves as this, but it's not, there's no dualism. Secondly, can you see it with the senses? Can you see yourself like this? When you're appreciating yourself in this way, are you an object of the senses? Can it be seen with the senses?
No.
And notice too, you can't describe it because it's non-dimensional, isn't it? There's no description that can fit it with it. So it's extremely important to come to a recognition and an appreciation of ourselves as something entirely different from what we've been taking ourselves to be. Now, this is not the full vision of Vedanta, but it's the starting point. It's the recognition and appreciation of myself as a conscious being alive to facts. And then I'm living, aren't I?
Because in that abiding, the wanter that you normally are, the angst person wanting to change, when you rearrange so you can be happier, that disappears.
Yes, this wanting somebody that I'm taking myself to be, in actually when we're resting in the lap of Ishvara, that person that we've taken ourselves disappears. We haven't become another object that we like. It's entirely different. And you see, this is why the understanding of God is so important, is that when we wake up and we recognize what Ishvara is, and we invite the presence of Ishvara into our life, and he takes up all the room in terms of the presence of the given takes up all the room, and we're just simply awake to the moment, we come to an entirely different appreciation of ourselves. One that involves no self-objectification. Now get this. It is an appreciation of ourselves that involves no self-objectification. We're not an object to ourself. We are being. Okay?
Yeah.
And we're going to go into this next time. What were you saying?
We're also we're not only not objectifying ourselves, we're not objectifying others in that appreciation either.
We're just aware of the presence of what is. Yes. There's no we're not. For example, when we're upset with someone, we think they're not a nice person. That's a label, isn't it? It's a projection.
Yeah.
All we're seeing is someone has done something we don't like. So this being objective doesn't involve being objective in the sense that Swami Dayananda means it does involve any form of self-objectification. The phrase that he uses is that we're awake to the moment by being ourself. And this being ourself does not involve any self-objectification. It is inconceivable, it is non-perceptible, and it's non-describable. And the whole point with this is that when we are being this, we are free, relatively speaking.
Free from seeking happiness in situations and the world. And
No, that comes later. We're free from being a somebody. The seeking happiness only comes... The reason that we seek happiness is that we're unhappy. So, but when we are being ourselves in the sense that Swami Dayananda says it, resting in the lap of Ishvara, there is no self-dissatisfaction centered on us, and there's no insecurity. So then there's no desire to be happy in the future. There's no need. And therefore we're freed from this struggle of striving to become a somebody who's happy.
There's a sense of well-being.
Absolutely, yes. All right, so I just wanted to get through this, is that the striving and the struggle, that what they call binding desires, the various desires we have in order to make us happy, when we are being ourselves in the sense that Swami Dayananda means it, that desire is not there, because we're already happy. We're already free. And the whole purpose of Vedanta is to be free while living. The whole purpose, this is what the word they use, moksha, it means the whole endeavor is to be free while living. Now, when I'm being a somebody, am I being free?
No, because you're determined by the world, people, and situations.
Completely.
By your own past psychology.
Yes, my own conceptions of what I am. So I just wanted to just make that clear, that what we're doing here is what we're heading towards, what our whole interest is to come to a recognition and an appreciation of ourselves, which frees us from the experience of being a somebody.
Who is in friction with the world, trying to seek
Implicitly,
happiness.
yes. Yeah. Okay. All right, Kevin.
Okay.
I'll see you next week.
Much, Bede. Okay. Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.